Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today we are going to dismantle the traditional view of anti-aging. Usually when we talk about longevity, we look outward. We look for blue zones in remote mountain villages, we analyze the diets of centenarians, and we spend billions collectively on creams, serums, and supplements. We scan the horizon for a magic pill or a revolutionary technology that can halt the relentless march of time. But what if the most potent anti-aging technology is not found in a laboratory or a pharmacy? What if it is already embedded within you? Today we are discussing a biological superhighway humming with electric potential, waiting to be fully activated. It is called the vagus nerve. To understand why this nerve is the secret to slowing biological aging, we have to move past the old school anatomy. For centuries, anatomists viewed the vagus nerve merely as a passive wire, a simple conduit carrying signals from the brain to the body. But modern neuroscience has completely overturned this simplistic view. We now know that the vagus nerve is the command center of the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your body's rest, digest, and repair mode. It is the master regulator of inflammation, the guardian of your immune system, and, as emerging research suggests, the key to turning back your biological clock. Let us start by mapping the geography of this system, because its structure dictates its function. The word vagus comes from the Latin for wandering. This is a fitting name, because this nerve meanders more extensively than any other in the human body. It originates in the medulla oblongata, which is the primitive stalk of the brainstem, controlling our most vital, unconscious functions. From there, it does not just go to one place. It splits and travels down both sides of the neck, wrapping around the carotid arteries and diving into the chest. It is not a single wire, but a complex bundle of tens of thousands of fibers, branching out like the roots of a great tree. As it descends, it physically touches almost every major organ that dictates your health. It connects to the larynx and pharynx, controlling your voice and ability to swallow, which links your social communication directly to your physiology. It connects to the heart, acting as a natural pacemaker to slow the rate and induce calm. It regulates the lungs, controlling breathing depth and rhythm. It travels the entire length of the digestive tract, from the esophagus to the colon, managing the complex motility of digestion and the chemical environment of the gut. And it innervates the liver, spleen, and pancreas, regulating glucose detoxification and, crucially, your immune response. This widespread connection makes the vagus nerve the central switchboard for the gut-brain axis. It is the reason why a stressful thought, which is a brain event, causes butterflies in your stomach, which is a gut event. To understand its power, we have to look at its rival, the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic system is our fight-or-flight mode. It evolved for short-term survival. When you face a threat, like a saber-toothed tiger in the past, or a looming deadline today, the sympathetic system floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline. In this state, the body prioritizes immediate survival over long-term health. Repair processes stop. Digestion halts. The immune system goes into a hyper-aggressive attack mode. The parasympathetic system, governed by the vagus nerve, is the antidote. When the vagus nerve is active, it releases a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. This chemical acts like a tranquilizer for the body. It tells the heart to slow down, the blood pressure to drop, and digestion to resume. Crucially, it tells the body that the danger has passed, you are safe, and it is time to heal. Aging is essentially a failure of this balance. As we get older, our sympathetic system tends to become chronically overactive, while our vagal tone, which is the strength of the vagus nerve activity, declines. We get stuck in a state of low-grade fight-or-flight, awash in cortisol. This chronic stress state strips the body of its resources, prevents cellular repair, and accelerates every marker of aging. Reversing this imbalance and restoring high vagal tone is the core mechanism of the body's hidden anti-aging system. This leads us to the specific mechanism of how this prevents aging, and it centers on one word: inflammation. Acute inflammation is good. It heals a cut. But chronic, systemic inflammation is a slow poison. Scientists call this inflammaging. It is a sterile, low-grade, chronic inflammation that increases steadily with age and is the root of Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and sarcopenia. For years, we treated inflammation with drugs that blunt the immune system globally. But in the early 2000s, Dr. Kevin Tracy made a Nobel-worthy discovery, known as the cholinergic anti-inflammatory pathway. He found that the immune system answers to a general, and that general is the vagus nerve. Here's how it works. The vagus nerve has sensory fibers that detect inflammation in the body, specifically cytokines released by immune cells. It sends a danger report to the brain. The brain analyzes the signal. If inflammation is too high, the brain sends a signal down the motor fibers of the vagus nerve to the spleen and other organs. The nerve endings then release acetylcholine. This neurotransmitter binds to specific receptors on the surface of macrophages, the white blood cells responsible for producing inflammation. When acetylcholine hits these receptors, it instantly shuts down the production of inflammatory cytokines. It effectively turns off the faucet of inflammation. This is a neural reflex, happening in milliseconds. If your vagus nerve is weak, this reflex fails, leading to runaway inflammaging. By strengthening the vagus nerve, we sharpen this reflex, keeping systemic inflammation low. This protection extends all the way down to your DNA, specifically your telomeres. Telomeres are the protective caps at the tips of your chromosomes, like the plastic aglets at the end of a shoelace. They prevent genetic material from fraying. Every time a cell divides, telomeres get shorter. When they become too short, the cell becomes senescent, turning into a zombie cell that pumps out toxins. Telomere length is one of the most accurate biomarkers of biological age. Research has shown that individuals with higher vagal tone have longer telomeres. The mechanism is likely twofold. First, by reducing cortisol and inflammation via the pathway we just discussed, the vagus nerve creates a cellular environment where telomeres are preserved. Second, high vagal tone allows us to bounce back from stress faster, meaning we spend less time in the toxic soup of stress hormones that degrade telomerase activity. So how do you know if your vagus nerve is working? You cannot feel it firing, but you can measure it through heart rate variability, or HRV. Most people assume a steady heart rate, beating like a metronome, is healthy. That is incorrect. A metronomic heart is a sign of a stressed or aging system. A healthy heart, controlled by a robust vagus nerve, is highly responsive. When you inhale, your sympathetic system activates slightly, and your heart rate speeds up. When you exhale, your vagus nerve activates, releasing acetylcholine, and your heart rate slows down. This variability is the gold standard of health. High HRV indicates high vagal tone, meaning your body is resilient and ready to adapt. Low HRV indicates the brake is broken and is a strong predictor of rapid aging. Tracking HRV with wearable technology is the best way to gauge the biological age of your nervous system. Now, let us move to the practical application. How do we manually stimulate this nerve to turn on the anti-aging system? We cannot flex it like a muscle, but biology has left us back doors. The first and most direct access point is breathing. Breathing is the only bodily function that acts as a bridge between the conscious and unconscious mind. The key lies in the exhale. Remember, inhalation inhibits the vagus nerve, while exhalation stimulates it. To activate the anti-aging brake, we must lengthen the exhale. The most effective protocol is the 4-7-8 technique. You inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4, hold the breath for a count of 7, and exhale completely through your mouth, making a whoosh sound for a count of 8. This long, 8-count exhale physically compresses the vagus nerve in the diaphragm and chest, triggering acetylcholine release. Doing this twice, daily, resets the set point of your nervous system. Another method is resonant frequency breathing, where you inhale for 5 seconds and exhale for 5 seconds continuously. Just 10 minutes of this a day has been shown to significantly lower inflammatory cytokines. The second protocol is thermal stress, specifically cold exposure. This acts as a hormetic stressor, a good stress that triggers a rebound. When you plunge into cold water, your sympathetic system spikes, but as you adjust, the vagus nerve must work overtime to slow the heart and calm the body. This is heavy lifting for the nerve. You can utilize the mammalian dive reflex by simply submerging your face in icy water for 30 seconds. This causes an immediate drop in heart rate and a surge of parasympathetic activity. Alternatively, end your shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water, focusing on the back of the neck and chest. The key is to control your breath and force a long, slow exhale during the cold shock. The third protocol involves sound. Because the vagus nerve passes through the vocal cords and the inner ear, vibration is a physical switch. Low-frequency humming or chanting, like the sound Om or a deep VU sound, stimulates the vagal fibers attached to the larynx. The vibration should resonate in your belly, signaling safety to the primitive brain. The fourth protocol addresses the gut-vagus connection. It is a bidirectional street. If your gut is overrun with pathogenic bacteria, they release toxins that travel up the vagus nerve to the brain. To counter this, we can use psychobiotics. Strains like Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Bifidobacterium longum communicate directly with the vagus nerve to reduce anxiety, but only if the nerve is intact. We must also consider intermittent fasting. Constant eating keeps the body in a state of high metabolic work. Fasting gives the gut a break, allowing the migrating motor complex to sweep the intestines clean. This is a wave of muscle contractions triggered by the vagus nerve that prevents bacterial overgrowth and leaky gut. Finally, we have somatic release. Tension in the neck, often from looking down at phones, can compress the cervical spine and impede vagal function. A simple exercise called the salamander exercise involves lying on your back with hands behind your head, keeping the head straight, and looking as far to the right as possible, with only your eyes for 30 to 60 seconds until you swallow or yawn, then repeating to the left. This neurologically resets the upper cervical spine muscles. Looking to the future, we are entering the era of bioelectronic medicine. The FDA has already approved implanted vagus nerve stimulation devices for epilepsy, but new transcutaneous devices that clip onto the ear are showing promise. These devices deliver a daily electrical vitamin to tune the nervous system, lowering inflammatory markers like TNF-alpha and improving memory. In conclusion, we tend to view aging as a mechanical failure of parts, but the science of the vagus nerve suggests aging is actually a loss of rhythm. It is the static that creeps into the communication between brain and body. The vagus nerve is the conductor that restores this rhythm. It quiets the noise of inflammation and coordinates the symphony of repair. The most empowering aspect of this hidden anti-aging system is that it is free and available in your next breath. By prioritizing vagal tone through breathing, cold exposure, and gut health, you are signaling to your cells that you are safe and ready to heal. You are engaging in a biological rebellion against the decay of time. Take a deep breath, exhale slowly, and welcome to the age of the vagus nerve.